Molweni, Lindokuhle Vellem. I'm the project coordinator for a project Afesis which is translated to We Will Rise or We Stand. And I just feel that the title of this project, it dibanisa wonke umuntu and strengthens people in the communities. That we believe that no change will happen in society without people. There's no great man that is coming, and people need to stand where they are and demand change. So that's the project that I'm involved in. Firstly, I love being South African. There's just something, je ne sais quoi of sort, that we bring to the rest of the world. I love being a black woman in this day and age, and I love being Xhosa, and I think South Africa celebrates all of that, all of who I am and all of who everybody else is. That is what this country has afforded us as women, as black women, as ethnic women, that we get to live our truest selves. And it's okay, it's acceptable. I think we could do more to express who we are and to keep our cultures alive. And not just the tokenism and the aesthetics around heritage and this and that and the other, but truly live within ourselves as who we were made and born to be. I think what I bring to the sector is perspective from the side of poverty and the side of having the system, or the system allowing me to escape that. Yet I'm still very much embedded with my people, with the people that I grew up with, my aunts, and how the system that we are currently operating in has not selected some of those individuals to be either where I am at or closer to where we all want to be. I think for me, I am somewhat of a bridge between the two worlds, and that is what I bring to the sector. I know poverty. I know the people living next to me. I know children that go through dumpsters and dog food just so that they can have the next meal. And I know sushi. So I bring those both worlds into the space where there's a desire deep inside of me that there could be a level where we get to a semblance of equality. I know we'll never get there, but what I particularly detest is when people say we cannot get rid of poverty. I think that anger that I carry, when people expect or are comfortable with the injustices that are exposed or experienced by others, I bring a level of emotional intelligence that has felt both worlds and carry both worlds and believe that there can be a midway where everybody has access to basic services. Everybody's capabilities are met, that we don't operate and live on survival mode for the rest of our lives, particularly as black people in this country. I also carry the notion and the understanding that poverty it inflicts the black woman more than anybody else on this planet. That when you think of poverty, you see a black woman in a rural space standing in front of a makeshift house eating whatever they were able to gather for the day. That's the mental picture that we often see and often identify as poverty in our everyday life. And for me to carry that was what I definitely bring to the sector. And my hope and my challenge to the sector is that we move past the system is okay, we just need to tweak it, because it has produced so much inequality, it has produced such a chasm between the haves and the have-nots, and so this system cannot remain. And as a growing leader within the sector, I think and believe that that is the heart I carry. And hopefully, and God willingly, and our ancestors working with us, I truly and honestly believe that we will see some semblance of people regaining their power, people taking back their power that they have relinquished. And I hope to see that in my lifetime. And that is the heart I bring to the sector. I think I'm a romantic in that some of the things I envision, others don't see them possible. And for me is to bring that that idea of dreaming and proposing new patterns and new algorithms that are not stuck in where we currently are, but trying to pull people outside of the misery of sustaining this day and hoping that you make it to the next day and you survive. I would love to live in a society where people thrive, that we don't just have bread and butter issues on a daily basis, that basic needs are met, people can eat. And I recently read a quote that says, if you give everyone food, then around the table everybody is equal. Because there's not this one person that is continually thinking about their stomach when there are issues on the table, or this one person that can be easily bought and sold and whatever else, because the primary objective is survival. And so for me, that is the dream. And what I then bring is the idea of thinking outside your current circumstance, and hopefully getting as many people to start dreaming and requiring and requesting and taking back what they know is theirs and how they want to see the rest of their lives unfold, and that of generations to come. I don't think I've faced many challenges in the sector as a woman, apart from the whole first black woman. I hate those things. And there seems to be a lot of that in the sector. I think for me, the biggest challenge that I've experienced that has stayed with me has been because I am black and somewhat articulate, being forced into a space where I need to sign on to something that I'm not totally in agreement to, because this for me is not only my vocation, but it is also a space that puts food on my table and that of my children and that of my siblings. And so there's been contentions between the employee who I am and the person that is living out what they believe is their purpose in the sector. I think my biggest contention in the sector has been my landing. Where do I stand? Am I for the system or against the system, or just in the middle because I am happy? And that for me has been, if I am where I say this needs to change, and because I am an employee, I need to go with what the employer says. I don't necessarily think it's because I'm a woman, but I do think it is because I am black and dependent on a job for sustenance. I think that has been my challenge in the sector mostly. We can unpack the rest of it over a glass of wine. I think there are the things that we say, Jeba, you need to put in the work. And I know this sounds cliche, but actually black women put in the most work. And I'm realizing that as a mother, as a professional in the space, as a partner, as an older sister, there is so much that women carry. And I enjoy being in the space because it is alive to all of those challenges that women face from their backgrounds, where they are as professionals, and where they want to be. I do, however, think that maybe we could ask for more from funders or from our society. That how do we grow? How do we grow? Because education is expensive, and those are the challenges I'm finding. That yes, you don't want to stay or remain in the same place. You want to elevate yourself both intellectually, emotionally, physically, as a person as a whole. You want to reach your peak, but sometimes funding is a challenge. Funding studies, funding home economics. So that for me, as I reflect on this month, I am just, I'm in a position where I'm like, women carry a lot. We carry so much, even the traumas of our partners, in addition to the traumas that we have faced. And also, I mean, we are a generation born of people that experienced apartheid. And that trauma, it stayed with them, and it possibly could have and might have and definitely transferred to us as a generation. And I think we need to remain cognizant of that yes, there were fights that we were able to see, we could feel them, we did not just perceive them. But right now, the fights that we have now, we can't pin it down. And I think that is a problem that needs everybody around the table. And back to that whole notion of, if all are fed, then what is placed on the table can be the issue that we start unpacking. But if there are very, very hungry people and very, very full people, we will never tackle the real issues that we face in this country, which are primarily felt most by black women. Women beyond the NGO sector, let's not be afraid to be political. All things are political. The water we get, the houses we live in, the land we walk on, And I think in the NGO sector, we don't want to be political. We want to be just right. We want decorum, we want diplomacy. And I think we are in a place where we can stretch the tent and see how far it stretches. Yes, there are comforts that come with the sector because you are neither rich nor poor. You are right in the middle. And I think it's time for us to stretch the tent and not be afraid to go political. Even if it's egregious, even if it may make you less popular. But the agenda on the table is to strike off the injustices that are felt by the majority of South Africans. I don't know, I don't have any advice. All I know is this is a passion project. I think for me, I've experienced a lot of mental strain because of what I've put in and so little that has come out in terms of social changes. And I think for women that are wanting to pursue careers within the civil society space, it's to make sure or be in a position where you are actively pursuing good mental health. It does take a strain when you put in 3 years into a project and people still don't have water or the road still has potholes. Women are having to walk kilometers while pregnant, and there are delays in viewing or seeing what challenges the child may have, where transport is still a problem for people living in rural spaces. You need very strong teams to first manage that internally and have outlets where you don't think about work all the time because it will drive you insane. But don't divorce yourself from it as well, because it's the fire that burns that keep us at it. And if we're able to switch it on and off, it somewhat makes us complicit. And I don't want to be on the wrong side of history. Thank you.